Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're out here on another little small creek. It's actually a Wednesday after work, so this will be my second after work trip of the season, and we're going to see what we can get into here. I have about 3.5 hours till dark, and I'm probably going to fish all the way up until dark because if it's only 3.5 hours I probably won't get tired, and we're just going to see what we can do. The conditions right now, the water is actually a pretty nice color. It's up a little bit, but that's kind of how I want it for this little creek. And it's also like a nice overcast, cloudy day, and I think they got some rain earlier. So hopefully we can get into some fish, and we're just gonna get right to the fishing because like I said, I have a limited amount of time and we're gonna see what we can get into. Well, that is not a good sign. First fish of the day is a creek chub. And I believe that was another creek chub. There we go. Something a little bit better. I just saw, I think you guys could probably see that on the camera. I think fish just took on top over there. Might have been this little fish. But there's a bunch of midges coming off right now, so I have the little olive baetis, simple baetis on, the size 18, and a size 16 pheasant tail. Little guy. Is that a brookie? That is a brookie. That is a stocked brookie in a not stocked stream. Interesting. And there he is. There's a fish up in there he just took. Oh. I think there's a bunch of fish right in here. Seems like it's maybe a bunch of stockers or just like piled up right there, but they don't stock this stream. And it's I'm quite a ways up from the mouth. I mean, the stream that this flows into is stocked, but I would be surprised if there's a pod of fish already pushed up in here. There is another tiny little fish. Tiny brownie. Oh, the fish is sitting right there in that riff. There we go. There's a fish. Yeah, they're hitting really quick. It's almost like so quick that you can't even set the hook. And that fish took the pheasant tail. Ah, Thought we had a bigger fish. Turns out we have a stick. Seems like this is maybe the first day I've had this year where more of the fish are pushed up into the runs than sort of towards the bottom. I think they're starting to move towards the top. I mean, we're getting towards the end of March and water's starting to warm some, and I mean, Granum should be coming off within a few weeks. Seen a lot more bug activity too. I mean, most of it's still midges, but I mean, it's like almost every time you go on the water now, there's some sort of hatch going on. Water's a beautiful color. I can get pretty close to the fish. I'm gonna shorten up my leader, or shorten up how much I got out the rod tip. Maybe I can make a faster hook set, and then when I do set the hook, it won't go behind me and get stuck in the tree. They are tough cookies today though. Either I am very, very fooled and those are not fish, or those fish are fooling me and hitting super quick. There's one. Oh, this is a good fish, I believe. Nope, just foul hooked right in the dorsal fin. There he is. There we go. Yeah, I'll tell you what, they are pushed up in those runs. I'm actually surprised. When you go with low water and without like spring conditions for so long, you start to forget just how far they'll push up into those runs. Nice little fish. He took the Betis again. Another tiny fish. Oh, he popped off. He was hooked in the mouth though. So one thing I will say in the spring is, because there's so many nymphs floating down the stream, I do think they tend to just take quicker in the spring. I mean, you will get days where they're taking, you know, confidently and very hard, but sometimes in the spring it can be very hard because they just, I mean, they'll take that stuff quick because there's just so much stuff coming downstream that if they're not quick, they won't get any of it. So they got to make their choices quickly, basically. There's one. Tiny guy again. Man, there's nice sized fish in here, and all I'm catching are tiny fish. Oh, there was one and he popped off. There we go. Let's see if we can land this fish. Yes, we can. All right, this guy was on the pheasant tail. Nice, pretty little fish. All right, another tiny fish. Looks like he's on the pheasant tail. Lots of tiny fish. Probably got about another hour and a half to fish. This is our first successful day, I guess, after work trip. I went once already before this trip, but I didn't catch anything on that trip. So it's weird this time of year because they're sort of like transitioning from that midday eat over to like morning and evening eat. So sometimes evening can be like hit or miss at this point, until you really start getting those hatches that happen in the evening. All right, so I actually switched up flies, and we got this guy on the bottom one. It's a copper paragon. Again, not the biggest of all fish, but same size we've been catching all day. Get him back in. I'll show you guys on the screen here now the copper paragon. I actually had someone message me on my Etsy shop recently that told me they were slaying fish on that copper paragon, so I actually haven't used it in a while. So I decided once I got stuck in the tree there, might as well throw something else on that I haven't used in a while and kind of just test some stuff out, and we ended up with a fish. And there's another fish. Another fish on the copper paragon, so maybe that was a good switch. Oh wow. I was lifting my rod and we got a copper paragon eater. Maybe I should have put this on earlier. And there he is, tiny brown. All right, there's another fish. Not super tiny, but still not a great size. And he was on the copper paragon again. That is going to be the winner for the rest of the day, I believe. Another fish. Better size one. I wanted to keep him out of that. Again, he was on the copper paragon, but I wanted to keep him out of that hole. That's a cool looking fish. He's got like peach fins and very sparse spots. All right, let's get some more drifts over in there. There's a fish. Swinging it through that run. Oh, there he goes. There is definitely a fish over there. There he is. I knew it. I knew I felt him take. Oh, there he goes. Small one on the copper paragon again. Now that is the real sound of spring. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but there must be like a swamp over there. Tons of frogs. There's another little guy. Again on the copper paragon. You guys have probably heard me say copper paragon like 100 times, but there he is. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm just so surprised we haven't got into one like decent sized fish. Could be though that the big boys are waiting a little closer to dark. I mean, we're getting there. Sun's starting to go down. There's another fish. You guys already know what he's on, but he just popped off. Another fish. You can always tell when it's a small fish because they take like 3 times and don't care. If I was a bigger fish, it would have took the first time and probably never took again for the rest of the day. All right, that fish was actually not on the copper paragon. It was on the little France fly. Another little fish. There he is. And back he goes. There are actually quite a few sections of this stream that have changed just in the 6 months that it's been since I've been here. This right here is one of them. This brush pawl right here, this actually used to lay more out into here, and it pushed the water more that way. There we go. He already popped out. Oop, there he goes. I couldn't see what he was on. I actually think he was on the top fly, so the France fly. This has actually changed a little bit too. That run over there on that side of the wall never used to be there like that. This is just a tough little place to get drifts though, because you got this overhanging tree. I think next time I come here, I'm gonna bring my streamers and run a streamer down through there now. It's a lot easier, it looks like, to get in there now than it was before. All right guys, I believe there is a really big fish right up against that wall. And that is not him. There's that fish. I'm honestly thinking those might be suckers instead. I don't have my sunglasses on, so I can't really tell, but I'm gonna throw an egg on the bottom instead of this micro streamer. There's a fish up there. That's the second time I saw him rise. Ah, there was a fish sitting right up there he took. I bet you that was the egg. All right, hooked up with our biggest fish of today. He's not a monster, but I gotta get him in here. And it looks like he took the egg. You see there, egg in his mouth? Biggest fish of today. Probably gonna call it here soon. It's getting kind of dark, but I figured we'd keep the egg on and throw the egg as long as we can, because at least with the egg, even with it getting dark, it's a little brighter so they can see it a little easier. All right guys, that is gonna wrap up our short little after work session here. Lots of fish, just all pretty small. Caught that one last one there at the end that was actually a pretty decent size. So we're just gonna kind of wrap it up here quick. I'm right by the road here, so there's a lot of car noise, and yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot more after work trips here now that there's daylight after work and I can get to the stream and actually have a decent amount of time to do some fishing. So look forward to some more of those. I'm not gonna complain. I mean, we caught a lot of fish. Granted, they were all small, and you know, you can't always have the best day on the water. So, and it was just nice to get out after work and catch some fish. So that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, leave any suggestions for future videos, and let me know what you thought of this video. And until next time, peace.